Hi, okay, welcome to session 8. We have our recap, lots and lots of questions there for you. You can see that I've brought in a calculator now, so we're not doing absolutely everything by hand. So all the questions with the blue dot, feel free to grab that calculator. Trust me, it's going to make life a lot easier than doing it by hand. All right, so have a go, and then when you're ready, press play for the answers. All right, here are our answers. Let's get those on. Okay, so normal thing, hit pause, all the working out is pretty much there. The highlighted one I'm going to go through just to make sure everyone is comfortable with that in particular. And I'll point out a couple of other bits and pieces as well. So press play once you've finished doing the main bulk of the marking. Okay, so with this question here, I really just wanted to just mention again how important the subtlety of the question can be. We've got Pam has 32 less marbles than Sam, not 32 marbles. So we can't put 32 in here under Pam saying that she has 32 because she doesn't. So it's that very subtle difference in the language used in the sentence that we've got to watch out for. That is what's going to trigger our invisible column. This one down here, the main thing to note here is obviously the different units. Okay, we've got kilograms and grams. Absolutely love doing this sort of thing to us. So really, really do watch out for it and make sure that you're working in one unit or the other. You can see that I've changed to grams. There is a slightly different approach that you could take to a question like this, which would give you different numbers to compare, but I've stuck with what we are learning and how we are using those boxes and labels to help us. It has given us some pretty crazy looking numbers, which is fine. Just really look closely because these are so similar, these numbers, so that you can identify which one is giving you the better value. And it is the 1 kilogram, just literally just. Okay, we've got the yellow question. I'm going to go through that one now so that we can have a good look at that. So I'll just create some space. Here we go. All right, so we've got 725 pupils in a school. 2/5 of them are in year 7. At that point, literally at that point, without reading any further, I have some maths I could do. Now, it might be nice to read the entire question so that I've got a feel for what it is I'm supposed to be doing. Equally, you could just go, oh, I know how to do that, and get straight on with it. These questions have a lot of marks attached to them. So there's a lot of work. Each stage basically gives you marks. Okay, so we are going to be doing 2/5 of 725. Okay, so this is a divide by the bottom times by the top. Now, equally, you could argue that you could do this as well. And of course you can. Of means times. Either way, we've got a calculator. We can just pop them straight in the calculator to finish them off. So that is going to give me 290. We've then got 20% of them in year 8. So 20% of 725. Now, this is where we do our rewrite. If you did the grade 2 course with us, then you'll know all about the rewrite. If you didn't, then you may not. So what we do is we see that percentage and we just bring it into the question. Percent means out of 100. So I'm going to write 20 out of 100. Of means times, or I can leave the word 725. I've basically written the same question, divide by the bottom, times by the top. So it's like having one method that's going to do lots of things for us, which is always good. All right, so when I put that into my calculator, I get 145 out. Okay, the rest of the question is talking about how year 9 and year 10 are in the ratio of 2 to 3. So I'm going to get that out of the story and get it written down so I can see it clearly. So that's the rest in years 9 and in year 10. So I can't really keep going now unless I know how many are left. So I'm going to take the total, 725, take off year 7 and year 8, and that is going to give me 290. So the total number of pupils in year 9 and year 10 are 290. So this is a total column. The ratio totals to 5. I've got 290 in the question. What do I times 5 by to get to 290? And it's 58. So I do the same this side. I'm obviously only interested in year 9, so it's going to be 2 times 58, which is 116 as a final answer. All right, so I hope that went well. You've got all the key skills, everything that you need to answer a question like that, you already have. Okay, it's really just now dealing with the fact that it's coming to you as a story with lots of sentences. We don't really work well in sentences when it comes to maths. We really prefer things to be in symbols and formulas and diagrams. That's what we work with in maths. So that's what we prefer to see. So when you've got these sort of stories, it's really a good skill that we're developing, to being able to recognize that maths, pull it out and get it down in a more mathematical format. And over time, with practice, that will become easier and easier to do. Okay, so we are going to develop our boxes and labels. So we've learned about what it is and how it works. It's a tool, and it's really important that we don't lose sight of that. It's not you must use boxes and labels to solve exchange rate questions. It's not that at all. It's more, I have this tool available, so if I'm reading the question and I'm not sure what to do with the numbers, it just helps. It helps me structure where everything goes. That's what it does, okay? So let's see it in action on an exchange rate question. So when I read this through, we've got Samantha going to Italy on holiday. The exchange rate of pounds to euros is here. So that's the first key thing. The rest of it's just a nice story about Samantha going on holiday to Italy. Lucky, lucky Samantha. But the key piece in that whole sentence is the fact here that £1 is 1.86 euros. That's my fact. And with a lot of these types of questions, that's one of the things that I'm really trying to identify. So when I've got this wordy question, but I can see a fact embedded in it, then that's a good sign that boxes and labels could help me with the question. It says Samantha decides to take £350 spending money. So obviously this is key as well. It's a third piece of information. And that's another thing that you could be looking for when you're trying to see if boxes and labels could help you out. 3 pieces of information, I need to find a fourth, can very, very often be boxes and labels. So let us do our box. The fact goes in side by side. £1 is 1.86 euros. Just about squeezed my euro sign in there. Okay, that's the labeling. Okay, that's when we're, when I talk about boxes and labels, sometimes there isn't a label, but most of the time, boxes and labels are being used in wordy questions, and there's definitely something that we could label it up with. Why label? Because it makes sure I get the third piece of information in the right place. That 350 has to go in the right box. If it doesn't, then I'm just going to go wrong anyway. This is pounds, so it needs to be in the pounds column. So we're going to put our 350 here. Now my trap number is 1, so technically not making a whole lot of difference. Dividing by 1 doesn't change anything. But if you want to get good at this method, I would recommend that you don't take shortcuts until you're really familiar with it. And then you might well and truly notice, oh, divide by 1 doesn't actually do anything. I'm not going to show it. And that's fine. So you pop that into your calculator and you get 651 euros. All right. Now, the only other thing that I'm going to say is the box itself is, like I say, a tool, and it's not recognized by the examiner. So you can't do that, skip this, and then just write the answer, because the examiner is just going to think, where's the working out? This is your method marks here. This is your working out. This just helped you structure it. Okay, basically, it's something that I have made up for my students in class because they were struggling. They weren't putting the numbers in the right way. There were times when they needed to divide, or they were dividing when they needed to times, and they were getting themselves in a bit of a pickle. Not all of them, but some of them. And it was just important that we came up with something that would enable them to just have a bit more confidence when it comes to these types of questions. And this is what we came up with. So, and it's worked a treat. And so over the years, I just use it. It's just standard in my classroom now. Okay, let's do the next one. All right. When she came home, she had 96 euros left over and wants to change them back to pounds sterling. The exchange rate on the day is different. So it's really important that we're reading our questions carefully. Exchange rates change all the time. So it's very unlikely that you'd go away for a week or two, come back, and it'd be identical to what it was. So we've got our £1 and we got 172. Let's get that in a bit better. This time, 96 euros. So 96 is going in the euros column. There's my trap number. Don't technically need to show that, do I? Like I was talking about a moment ago. Pop that into my calculator and I get 55.813, on and on it goes. This is a money question, so I will automatically change that into a money answer. They won't mention rounding. They shouldn't need to because it's a money question. All right. Okay, so that's how you would apply it. What I'd like you to do is to just try it. Okay, so there's a question for you. Hit pause and press play when you're ready. You might want to come back in after you've just done the first one, just to check it's gone okay before you do the second one. Entirely up to you. Okay, so we've got 1 to 120. That's my pounds, that's my euros. 240 is going in. So I've got 288 euros. And if you got that right, really, really well done. Okay, going to go on to the next one. So it's obviously coming from the same question. So it's got the same fact that's going into the top side by side. This time it's going in the euros column and I'm going to be dividing. I'm going to show it. I just think it's good to do it because it just means that you get used to using that box really, really well. So when that goes in, you get this coming out. Okay, we're changing to pounds, so it's going to be a pound sign, 416, and rounded for, oops, get them the right way round, rounded for money. Writing and talking at the same time. That's me. Okay, here you go. One more to do. I'll just clean that off so it doesn't distract you. There you go. Hit pause, press play when you're ready. Okay, so I'm going to put my box in, put my fact in, and do my labels. So Dan had £60 and 80 euros in his wallet, and we have to work out how much he has in total in pounds. So that's the important thing, because really we've got two pieces of information. We've got £60 and 80 euros, but because we want to answer in pounds, technically we don't have to do anything with that. Just make sure that we include it at the end. This is the problem. I need to know what that is in pounds. So the 80 euros will go in and we will be dividing that through, which is going to give me 56.338, and on it goes. I need to add on my 60 and then I will round my final answer to allow for money. There we go. So that's one place that we can use our boxes and labels. Somewhere else is in recipe style questions. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of examples on the recipes, and then there is obviously a bit of practice, and then there is a mixed exercise at the end of the video on both these things. If with the do now and the amount of learning you've just done is enough and you don't want to overload yourself with any more, then obviously take that break and come back to this when you're ready and fresher. If you're good to go and you're going to keep going, then fabulous, stay with me and we will do the recipes. So recipes will often be wordy. You sometimes get a list of ingredients, you sometimes don't. They just throw it into the story in one way or another. So how does boxes and labels work here? Okay, so how much flour is needed for 16 scones? Well, when I look over here, my recipe has all the ingredients. So there's the flour ingredients. So I'll just highlight that. 150 grams of flour makes 8 scones. That is my fact. So that is what will go in aside. I can't change that. That's an absolute fact. So that is what will go into my box and label side by side. And I have my third piece of information, which is the number of scones that I actually do want to make. Okay. Now I'm just going to take the highlight off in case I want to highlight anything else in the future. All right. So this is how it would look if we were to set it up in our boxes and labels. So I've got my flour and I've got my scones. I've got 150 making 8 and I want to know how many will make 16. Now I don't really need to go all into trap numbers or anything like that because I should be able to see really clearly that this is just double. 8 and double it is 16, 150 double it is 300. Okay, so I need 300 grams. So again, this is where I come back to it being a tool. You may have spotted almost immediately, oh, you just double it. In which case you would just have shown 150 times 2 equals 300. And it's job done, okay? I'm just demonstrating how to apply the boxes and labels. You would use it as and when you needed to, all right? So how much sugar is needed for 10 scones? All right, let's do us a new grid. Okay, so we're doing sugar and scones. They both begin with S. So I might change it to grams and scones so I don't get confused. Okay, 160 grams will make the 8 scones and I'm making 10. And you can see here that getting from 8 to 10 isn't quite as simple. Okay, so we're going to use our trapped number here. Okay, so let us do it down here where I've got a bit of room. So 8, I'm going to stick the 10 and the 160 here. Okay, that is going to give me 200 grams as an answer. Now there's so many different ways to see this piece of maths. Okay, I could have not done the trap number at all. And I could have spotted that if I just times, what do I times 8 by to get to 160? Well, I times it by 20. So I'll do the same here. So I could have put the boxes and labels together and then spotted that. Okay. I could divide by the bottom times by the top. I could stick it over 1. I could stick it in a calculator. So once you've got that math set up, you will do what comes naturally to you to finish it off, of course. Okay. All right. So, oops, rubbing my border out. All right. Why don't you have a go at the next question? If you don't want me to point anything out to you, then pause quickly now. Otherwise, I'm just going to give you a little hint. All right, my hint is just watch here. You've got different units. All right, off you go. Have a go, and then come back to me when you're ready to see the answer. Okay, so Penny buys a litre of milk and uses some to make 20 scones. All right, so let's get this set up. So we've got our milk and our scones. We need 125 millilitres for 8 scones. What I actually want to know is how much milk I'm going to need for 20, because that's how many she's going to make. So I'm going to pop my 20 in here. And then I am going to do my trap number. And that is going to give me 312.5. So I'm going to need 312.5 millilitres of milk to make 20 scones. If we read the question, it says, how much milk does she have left? Penny buys a litre of milk and uses some to make these scones. But how much milk does she have left? So it's always important to read that question carefully. My top tip to all my students is just always reread the last part of the question. Have you answered it? All right, how much milk does she have left? Really stands out when you read it on its own away from the story. So how much does she have left? Well, that means that I have to do a litre, take away what she used, and my litre and my millilitres are different units. So 1,000 millilitres are in a litre. So 1,000 take away 312.5, and you've got your answer of 687.5. Okay. If you got that right, really well done, because they're different. They're not like here's one and here's an identical one for you to now try. They are different. So I am pushing you, as you can see. All right, hit pause and have a go at that last question for me. Press play when you're ready. So Sam has a 500-gram pack of butter and plenty of all the other ingredients. What's the maximum number of scones he can make? All right, so this is all about the butter. So we've got 120 grams of butter making us our 8 scones. We've got 500 grams. All right, so we are going to, so that's 500, plenty of all the other ingredients. What's the maximum he can make? So we can just set this up, just rereading it, making sure I was doing it right. 120, 500, and then we're going to times through by the 8. All right, that is going to give me 33.33, and on it goes. So the maximum number is 33 scones. Okay, a little bit easier, that one. All right, we've got another question. Here you go. So, oops, let's get it so you can see all of it. All right, I want you to just read through and have a go. If you want to check in with each question before you do the next one, obviously feel free. I will, once you press play, I'll be going through it all, but you can easily just pause and stop me, can't you? So if you want to check as you go, please do. Pause, play when you're ready. Okay, so we've got the fact that 150 grams of butter is needed for 10 cupcakes. I am making it for 30. I can see it's just a really simple, straightforward times by 3. So I'm going to times 3 by 3, and it's 450 grams. Okay. Next one is about the sugar. So I'm going to do this one down here. So I've got 150 sugar. And that's making me 10. So same as the butter really, isn't it? And then I want to make 24 cupcakes. So 24 goes in the cupcake column. Always make sure you're putting things in the right column. So we're going to divide through by 10, 150 times it through by 24, and you get 360 grams. And then the last one, eggs cost £2.10 per box of 6. How much will the eggs cost if Sally makes 80 cupcakes? So the first thing I need to do is work out how many eggs are actually needed for 80 cupcakes. So I know it's 2 eggs makes 10, right? So eggs, cupcakes. I can see it's straightforward times by 8, which is 16. So I need 16. I'm buying eggs in boxes of 6. So 6 is going to be £2.10. Another box will get me 12 and be a total of £4.20. The next box will get me 18. Okay, it's a couple more than I need, but I'm going to have to buy 3 boxes, which is going to come out at £6.30. There we go. So you'll find that in these types of questions, whilst boxes and labels is great and it's a tool and it does lots for us, it doesn't necessarily be, it's not necessarily the only step, and there could be more to the question that requires you to obviously do more when it comes to the maths. But hopefully you're getting a good idea now of just how this works. And like I say, I love it. I use this in so many different topics. So if you can really get yourself used to setting it up, putting the information in and using it, you're going to find that it opens up so many more topics that you can be successful in and make really good progress in. Okay, that is all of our examples and have a go questions. We're going to get straight in now to having a look at our questions that we're going to practice. I'm going to scroll through these slowly so you can pause, and then I'll probably shrink it and then I'll do the same on the answers. I'm going to disappear and I will see you next session. Well done today.